Hello. This is January 3rd, and I'm going to be reading through Genesis 8 to 11. So, if you want to read through the Bible with me, that's what I'm doing. I've done it. This is the third day that I've done it on TikTok, but I've been doing it on my YouTube channel for it's probably day 7. So, don't want to waste time. Just ask that the Lord open our eyes, guide us, bless this reading, and I'll be reading from the Amplified version out of my parallel Bible. So the parallel Bible that I'm using has the NIV, the KJV, the New American Standard, and the Amplified. So that's what I'll be using tonight. And we're just gonna get started with with chapter 8 through 11. All right, so let's see here. And God remembered and thought kindly of Noah. Okay, so um, yesterday we learned that Noah was bringing all the people on the ark, and he was floating around on the ark. Um, hey, so I started this Bible plan, and I wanted to read through the Bible, so I'm just reading through the Bible live. That's it, to kind of hold myself accountable to make sure that I'm reading it. So I read it first, and then I read it live. That's what I've been doing. So this is the Bible that I'm using, and I'll be reading the Amplified version. So that's all, girl. And today I'm reading chapters 8 through 11. So, how you doing? Okay, get it, girl. So yeah, the Bible plan that I'm gonna be using is the Bible recap, and I didn't buy the book because it's free on YouVersion. So I've already read through the Bible, well, listened to it / read it twice last year. And so I said that this year I was gonna actually start in January and work my way through a plan, and this plan happened to pop up when I went on YouVersion, because I don't really use that. I use the Blue Letter Bible app, but I ended up going on YouVersion the other day, and that popped up, and so I was like, okay, God, I'll use this. So yeah, yep. So let me know when you get yours, and we can read it together. What version you gonna use? Let me know what version you using. I like the Amplified. I typically use the KJV for myself, but when I'm reading out loud, I prefer to use the Amplified, just because I be the cometh and the goeth and the saith, and I don't really be wanting to say all that on camera, but for myself, I read the KJV. All right, so starting with chapter 8. And God remembered and thought kindly of Noah and every living thing and all the animals that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind blow over the land, and the waters receded. All the fountains of the deep, subterranean waters, and the windows of the heavens were closed. The pouring rain from the sky was restrained. So, again, the rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights, and then it just sets on the... Okay. Child, got so many Bibles. I might have that one somewhere too. I'm actually starting to use them versus just collect them. So the water stayed on the earth for 150 days after it stopped raining for 40 days and 40 nights. One thing that I was thinking about, okay, so everything died. The only thing that survived was Noah and his family, and all the animals that were on the ark with him. So all of the flying birds, they died. And when I got to thinking about that, an eagle flies really high. Like I said, the mountains were covered, but when you think about how high an eagle flies in the air, the water was that high. That was a lot of water. It was a whole lot of water. Anywho, okay, so the waters receded. Verse 2. Also, the fountains of the deep subterranean waters and the windows of heaven were closed. The pouring rain from the sky was restrained, and the waters receded steadily from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the waters had diminished. On the 17th day of the seventh month, 5 months after the rain began, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat in Turkey. The waters continued to decrease until the 10th month. On the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen. So all of these mountains were covered. It was just, I don't even think we can imagine how high this water was. Um, at the end of another 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark, which he made. So remember, the Lord told him to make a door, and then the door closed. The Lord closed the door in behind them. So now he is about to open the door, and he's opening the door to see if the waters have receded and if there's dry land. And Noah was pretty strategic in this. Like, the way that he checked, I wonder you know, if the Lord gave him that insight versus opening up the door to see. Anywho, I just be thinking about stuff. All right, so and he sent out a raven, which flew here and there until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then Noah sent out a dove to see if the water level had fallen below the surface of the land. But the dove found no place on which to rest the sole of her foot, and she returned to him to the ark, for the waters were still on the face of the earth, on the entire earth. So he reached out his hand and took the dove and brought her into the ark. So the raven never came back, I guess, but the dove did, because she didn't have nowhere to sit down. He waited another 7 days and again sent the dove out from the ark. Okay, so I think I said this earlier, but the two numbers that keep popping up in Genesis is 40 and 7. So, those are some important numbers. He waited another 7 days and again sent the dove out from the ark. The dove came back to him in the evening, and there in her beak was a fresh olive leaf of all of the leaves. She brought back an olive leaf. So Noah knew that the water level had subsided from the earth. Then he waited another 7 days and sent out the dove, but she did not return to him again. Why? Because she had somewhere to land. Now, in the 601st year of Noah's life, on the first day of the first month, the waters were drying up from the earth. Then Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and the surface of the ground was drying. On the 27th day of the of the land, second month, the land was entirely dry. And God spoke to Noah, saying, "Go out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives with you. Noah, bring out with you every living thing from all flesh, birds and animals, and every crawling thing that crawls on the earth, that they may breed abundantly on the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth." So at this point, they are thank you, Kyle, for that. They're about to exit. They're about to exit the ark, because they've been on there for a long time, about a year or so, or longer. Um, let's see, verse 18 and verse 8. So Noah went out, and his wife and his sons and their wives with him, after being in the ark a year and I'll say, okay, so a year and 10 days. That's what the Amplified says, a year and 10 days. Every animal, every crawling thing, every bird, and every and whatever moves on the land went out by families, types, and groupings from the ark. So all of these animals knew where they were supposed to go. They knew who they were supposed to pair with. That is amazing. The animals know who they're supposed to be with. They know that you don't catch a chicken mating a chicken. You don't catch a horse mating a horse. That is very interesting to me. And Noah built an altar to the Lord and took every ceremonially clean animal and of every clean bird, and offer burnt offerings on the altar. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma, a soothing, satisfying scent. And the Lord said to himself, I will never again curse the ground because of man. For the intent or strong inclination or desire of man's heart is wicked from his youth, and I will never again destroy every living thing as I have done. Um, so from birth, from youth, we are wicked. And that's why it's important that you teach your kids. We teach our kids what's right. You don't have to teach a kid to cuss or to lie. You have to teach them not to do those things. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease. So that is a promise from the Lord. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease. And now we're in chapter 9. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. The fear and the terror of you shall be instinctive in every animal of the land and in every bird of the air, and together with everything that moves on the ground and with all the fish of the sea, they are given into your hand. So we have authority according to this over all animals. Interesting. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. Every living thing. Every living thing shall be food for you. And people be like, well, the Lord don't want you eating meat. It's a sin. That ain't what the Bible say. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. I give you everything as I gave you the green plants and vegetables. But you shall not eat meat along with its life, that is its blood. So you shouldn't be eating it. We shouldn't be eating anything raw, as in meat. That's what I understand. Um, for your lifeblood, I will most certainly require an accounting. From every animal that kills a person, I will require it. And from every man's brother, that is anyone who murders, I will require the life of man. And this is in Genesis. So whoever sheds man's blood unlawfully by man, judicial government, shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God he made man. As for you, be fruitful and multiply, populate the earth abundantly and multiply in it. Then God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, now behold, I am establishing my covenant, binding agreement, solemn promise. And like I said yesterday, the Lord takes covenants very, very seriously. Very seriously. Um, a solemn promise, that's a covenant. And most of the time, we keep our promises to other people, but we break our promises to ourselves. Why is that? And I just be thinking out loud. Um, Now behold, I am establishing my covenant, binding agreement, solemn promise with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, and the wild animals of the earth, along with you, of everything that comes out of the ark, every living creature of the earth. I will establish my covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the water of a flood. So, next we're going to talk about the rainbow. Nor shall there ever again be a flood to destroy and ruin the earth. And God said, this is the token, the visible symbol, the memorial of the solemn covenant which I am making between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. I set my rainbow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of a covenant between me and the earth. So every time y'all see a rainbow, you can remember that God said he will not destroy the earth with water. That's his promise, his covenant, and he takes those very seriously. It shall come about when I bring clouds over the earth, and the rainbow shall be seen in the clouds. And I will compassionately remember my covenant. So every time that the rainbow comes, the Lord is reminded of his covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all flesh. All right. 16 in chapter 9. When the rainbow is in the clouds and I look at it, I will solemnly remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. And God said to Noah, this rainbow is the sign of the covenant, the solemn pledge, the binding agreement which I have established between me and all living creatures on the earth. The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham will become the father of Canaan. And Canaan is supposed to be, the people that they weren't God's people. These are the three sons of Noah. And from these men, the whole earth was populated and scattered with inhabitants. And Noah began to farm and cultivate the ground, and he planted a vineyard, and he got high on his own supply, basically. So it says he drank some of the wine and became drunk. That's what he did. And he was uncovered and lay exposed inside the tent and Ham. So the few verses back in 19, it may mention, no, 18, that Ham was the father of Canaan. This is why that point was put in there, what's about to happen next. So in 22, Ham, the father of Canaan, saw by accident the nakedness of his father, and to his father's shame told his two brothers outside. Now, people have their own speculations of this. I try not to be too literal about what happened, but basically Noah was naked. Ham saw him. The Noah was embarrassed because Ham went back and told his brothers that his daddy was outside drunk. From what I'm reading, I have to do some more deep diving into that, but just from what it says here, that's what happened. So Shem and Japheth took a robe and put it on both their shoulders and walked backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned away so that they did not see their father's nakedness. So the other two brothers covered their father up without looking at him. When Noah awoke from his wine-induced stupor, he knew that his younger son Ham, what his younger son had done to him. So see that verse right there implies that something else happened. I don't know what happened. I do know that the Bible says something about, incest, molestation, and that's typically where people go with it. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, and the Lord ain't gave me no revelation about it. Um, so he said, "Cursed be Canaan, the son of Ham." So Canaan was cursed because Ham saw Noah naked. A servant of servants he shall be to his brothers. So, back then, the father's blessings were very serious. A father could bless or curse his lineage with his words. And even today, words are very powerful. We take them lightly. We joke around all the time with our words, but our words are creating um, realities for us. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow, but you'll see the fruit of your words. Okay, if we go back over here to verse, what is it, chapter 8, where he says seed time and harvest will always be as long as there's an earth. That goes back to that too. Okay, he also said, blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. So see, he is cursing this child. May God enlarge the land of Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. So Canaan is then um, shown mercy. If you read farther on in the Bible, um, they are given an opportunity. The Lord end up taking, they're taken care of. Canaan is taken care of because Canaan is used to get Jesus Christ to the earth later on down the line. So this just shows, that God is merciful. Even when we mess up, he still is there, attempting to give us the opportunity to do what we're supposed to do. Every day you wake up, you have a new opportunity to do what the Lord um, has told us to do. All right. So Noah lived 350 years after the flood. So all the days of Noah were 950 years, and then he died. Man, can you imagine living past? That's almost 1,000 years old. That's a long time. But when we read previous, it said that the Lord said that after He did this with the flood, that the years will only be 120. I think it's 120. So the Lord was like, "Nah, they living too long. They wicked. We gotta do something about that." So Noah lived was the longest living person after the flood, which he was basically the only person after the flood, and his children and their wives and his wife. They don't really mention his wives. I mean, his wife and his children's wives anymore. So now we're finna get into some genealogy of Noah's children. And like I say, I used to skip over this part because why I need to know these people. But when I started reading more, I realized that it was very important to not skip anything in the Bible because it's tied to Jesus in some way. So we're going to read chapter 10. There are records. No, these are the records of the generations or descendants of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and the sons born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphat, and I'm gonna butcher these, Togarmah. The sons of Javan: Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dodanim. From these, the people of the coastlines of the nations were separated and spread into their lands, everyone according to his own language, according to their constituent groups or families, and into their nations. The sons of Ham were Cush, not the weed. Okay. That's probably where they got it from, but they didn't realize it. But Ham's son was Cush. That was one of them. Mizraim, from whom descended the Egyptians, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabtika, and the sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush became the father of Nimrod. He became a mighty one on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore, it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar. Cousin, you still out here? Where was I? In Babylonia. From that land, Nimrod went to Assyria and built Nineveh, and Rehoboth, and Calah. And Nimrod built Resen, which is between Nineveh and Calah, and all these combined to form a great city of Nineveh. So Nineveh is when, girl, you want to come on with me? I ain't never used this feature before, but you can come on with me. I'll invite you to be my guest. Throw it in there. Thank you for accepting that invitation. Invitation is sent. Let's see. That's why I be skipping them. But can you see me? I see you down in the bottom. Yep. I see your picture. I don't see your face. Okay, well, let me see how to what do I do? Do I hit join up at the top? Yep, probably so. I see you. Now I'm scared you now because I'm laying in this bed with it's okay, baby. I put this on because my head was a mess. I ain't did nothing to it. I'm gonna wash it tomorrow. You gonna watch, yeah. Hey. You want to grandma? Keeps you from doom scrolling. Okay, OETF Studio. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't know. Okay. All right, so I was on 12. Okay. So, and Nimrod built Resen, which is between. Hold on. What is it I just put on my head? Hold on. What is it? It look like a wig, girl. That's what it look like. Wait a minute. Oh, my goodness. Let me see. Okay. And Calah, all these combined to form the great city Nineveh. So if you read Jonah, then you know that Jonah is where Nineveh was supposed to go. but he was like, I ain't going. And so he was very defiant, and he tried to escape, but the people threw him over the off the boat, and he got swallowed by the fish because he didn't want to go preach and tell the people in Nineveh to get their act together. So I'm in 13 now. Mizraim, the ancestors of the Egyptians, became the father of Ludum, Anamim, Lahabim, Naphthalon, to him. Yep. And Patrusim and Calushim, from whom came the Philistines, and Caphorim. Captorim. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadites, and the Zimrite, and the Hamathite. Afterwards, the families of the Canaanite were spread abroad. So that's a lot of different clans, and all of these people really do show up again, and they all came from Noah. After the families of the Canaanite were spread abroad, afterwards the family of the Canaanites were spread abroad. The territory of the Canaanite extended from Sidon as one goes to Gerar, as far as Gaza, and as one goes to Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim, as far as Lasha or Lashay. I don't know which one it is. These are the descendants of Ham according to their constituent groups, according to their languages, by their lands, and by their nations. Also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, including the Hebrews, the older brother of Japhet, children were born. The sons of Shem: Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram, ancestors of the Syrians, were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Okay, Arpachshad became the father of Shelah, and Shelah became the father of Eber. Two sons were born to Eber. The name of one was Peleg, which means division, for the inhabitants of the earth were divided in his days, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Almadad, Shelef, Azamaphet, and Jerah, and Hadoram, Uzel, Diklah, and Obel, Abimael, Sheba, and Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. So, that's a lot of people. Now I don't know how long this took for them to make all these babies, but there's a lot of people that I don't know.
It's a lot because you have the entire chapters from, well, between verses 20 all the way to 32, and you're just solely talking about descendants. So that's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people. But if you go back to chapter 10, wait a minute, chapter 9, they start mentioning, and it's very interesting to me how the Bible will say something in one chapter and then it'll go back and break that whole chapter down, and I'll be like, well, how long did it take all this to happen?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out how you figured it out. Now the territory, their territory extended from Misha as one goes towards Sephar to the hill country of the east. These are Shem's descendants according to their constituent groups and families, according to their languages, by their lands, according to their nations. These are the families of the sons of Noah, according to their descendants, by their nations. And from these people, the nations were separated and spread abroad on the earth after the flood. Whew, okay. And now we're going to read chapter 11, and that is the last chapter for today. Now, the whole earth spoke one language and used the same words or vocabulary. And as people journeyed eastward, they found a plain in their land of Shinar, and they settled there. They said one to another, come, let us make bricks and fire them through their thoroughly in a kiln to harden and strengthen them. So it's also amazing to me. Like I be like, oh, that's so interesting. These people discovered brick, and there was like a what is it called? What is it called? What's the phrase used for it was like a huge development in technology for them that they discovered how to make brick.
Mm-hmm.
Today, these folks is discovering how to make a robot bring your food.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting to me. The evolution of things. As the people journeyed eastward, they found a plain in the land of Shinar and they settled there. They said one to another, "Come, let us make bricks and fire them through the kindling." Um, to harden them. So they used brick for stone as building material, and they used tar, bitumen, asphalt, asphalt for mortar. So the bitumen is also what Noah used on the ark. They said, "Come, let us build a city for ourselves and a tower whose top will reach into the heavens, and let us make a famous name for ourselves that will not be scattered into separate groups and be dispersed over the surface of the entire earth as the Lord instructed." That is not what the Lord instructed. So this right here goes back to um greed, like Cain killed Abel because he was jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Um Human beings are born with these innate evil, wicked, greedy thoughts that have to be taught out of us. And so, out of nowhere, they made all these technological advances. That's what it's called. They made all these technological advances, and they wanted to build this city. Like they ain't have they have a whole city already. They want to build a city, which was the tallest city to reach the heavens. Why did they want to do that? What was they gonna do for them?
It sounds like they were trying to establish their own path because
Uh-huh.
they were not. Somebody had to not. Hold on, turn it down, baby. They had to not wanted to maybe follow the rules or the guidelines
Mm.
for where they already were.
Uh-huh.
So I don't like this. So let me go and establish my own.
Right. Okay.
We know
I
how
like
to
that.
use
I like
brick.
that.
We know how to use the brick. So let's take this brick and we build our own city.
Mm.
Because if we
Uh-huh.
don't want to follow the rules and the laws of the land here, we'll establish our own.
Right, because it say, "And let us make a famous name for ourselves so that we will not be scattered into separate groups and be dispersed over the surface of the entire earth, like the Lord instructed." The Lord instructed them to be fruitful and multiply and scatter, but they didn't want to do that, just like us, to not want to do what the Lord tell us to do. Okay. Verse 5. Now the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. So the Lord was like, they on one accord. Let me see what they doing. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one unified people, and they all have the same language. This is only the beginning of what they will do in rebellion against me. And now no evil thing they imagine they can do will be impossible for them." So when a person is on one accord with somebody else,
Go in the front with daddy, eat your chips. Go.
there is
Go
nothing
tell what daddy
that
to eat your
they
chips.
cannot accomplish when people are
Oh, too
on one
loud.
accord. It is when division comes where things don't work out. Come, let us, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, go down, and they're confused and mix up their language so that they will not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the surface of the earth, the entire earth, and they stopped building the city. Therefore, the name of the city was Babel. So I guess Babel is where you get the name of the app from, when you can learn all the languages. Because there the Lord confused the language of the entire earth, and from that place the Lord scattered and dispersed them over the surface of all the earth. These are the records of the generations of Shem, from whom Abraham descended. Shem was 100 years old when he became the father of Arpachshad, 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived 500 years after Arpachshad was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years, he became the father of Shelah. Arpachshad lived 403 years after Shelah was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he became the father of Eber. She lived 403 years after Eber was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Eber.
Let me stop. Let me intercede for you right quick because I'm just reading like the breakdown
Mm-hmm.
from what it's showing. If you go back to 10,
Mm-hmm.
this shows the explanation of it. It says the genealogy of Shem is repeated after the story of Babel to emphasize God's preservation of a godly line in the midst of the wickedness. The genealogy is presented in the multiples of seven, with the
Mm.
seven places occupied by men of particular importance. From Adam to Enosh are
Mm.
seven generations. From Enosh to Eber, ancestors of the Hebrews, are seven generations. And from Eber to Abraham are seven generations. So
Wow.
I guess that's why they always tell us, like, when you're talking about something, and they always say, I guess it's something magical or it's something lucky about the number
The
seven.
number seven. Mm. Okay.
That's just me saying it. There is something. It must be something about the number seven.
Well, seven is the number of completion. So I guess
Yeah,
when that family line was completed, it was time to
start
start
over.
over and use somebody great from that new generation. Cause what you say, um, Shem, and then who? Cause the other people not mentioned.
Hold on, cause my cookie.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Now say that again, please.
Okay, so you said Shem was first, as mentioned in your breakdown, right? Okay, and then it was seven generations, and then who?
It goes to. It says the genealogy is presented in multiples of seven, and with the seven places occupied by men of particular importance, from Adam to Enosh are seven generations.
Okay.
From Enosh to Eber, ancestor of Hebrews, are seven generations, and from Eber to Abraham are seven generations.
Mm. So those are all key people that we read about in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. And Eber lived. I'm on verse 17 now. And Eber lived 430 years after Peleg. Or did I read about Peleg? When Eber had lived 34 years, he became the father of Peleg. And Eber lived 430 years after Peleg was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he became a father of Ru. And Peleg lived 209 years after Ru was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Ru had lived 32 years, he became the father of Serug. And Ru lived 207 years after Serug was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he became the father of Nahor. And Serug lived 200 years after Nahor was born, and he had other sons and daughters. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he became the father of Terah. So this is the lineage of Abram. So now we're finna get to Abram. And Nahor lived 119 years after Terah was born, and he had other sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years. Uh,
And he
so
begat
so
Abraham, Nor, no,
hmm,
Nahor, and Haran.
yeah. So everybody had children early except for Terah. So somebody did something to mess up the flow of the abundance of having children early. After Terah lived 70 years, he became the father of Abraham and Nahor and Haran, his firstborn. So Haran was born before Nahor. I never knew that. That's why I be reading the Amplified, because he be breaking stuff down that I don't be wanting to look up. Now these are the records of the descendants of Terah. Terah was the father of Abram, which is Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran was the father of Lot. And we all know the story of Lot. Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth in Ur of the Chaldeans. Abraham and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. Sarai, later called Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Ishka. But Sarai was barren. She did not have a child. Terah took Abram his son and Lot the son of Haran his grandson, and Sarah his daughter-in-law, his son Abraham, Abram's wife, and they went out together to go from Ur of the Chaldeans into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, about 550 miles northwest of Ur, they settled there. Terah lived 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So, Terah made was a idol maker, and so that is probably the reason why his wife, I mean he conceived late, because he was serving other gods. Well, he was participating in the creation of other gods. And all of this is before the Ten Commandments were made. So, even though they didn't have laws, like they knew things was right and wrong. What?
And let's go back. Let's go back.
What?
See, that's why I like this Bible because it goes that back in significant verses in the Bible. It
Mm-hmm.
breaks it down.
Okay. What you got?
Go back to verse 29.
Okay, 29. Abram and Nahor took wives for themselves. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, later called Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Ishka. I'm sorry, Ishka.
Okay, now let me break that one down here with you. See,
Okay, what it say?
Abraham and Nahor and the women they married are important for history in general and God's plan specifically. Abraham married his half sister, Sarai,
Mm,
the
mm-hmm.
daughter of his father, but not of his mother.
So she was the daughter of a concubine.
So she was they had the same daddy.
They had the
They were
same
half
daddy.
siblings.
And
Hmm.
so, when he goes to where did he go? He told the king that Sarah was his sister, so that they wouldn't kill him and take her as his wife. I don't know if we're gonna get to that before, because I think after this one, the Bible plan goes to Job. But yeah, and so that begins um, the generation of the lying spirit, because
And
Abraham told the first lie.
incest. This also speaking on the incest too,
Oh yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, incest.
it also goes into saying Nahor married Milcah, the daughter of his
The
brother
daughter of his brother.
Haran. Am I saying that right?
Yep, girl, I
Haran,
don't know.
and therefore his niece.
Wait, read that again.
I told you, hold on, let's go back. Because it breaks it down to this.
Okay.
So there's a whole lot of incest going on in here.
Okay, yeah. So,
It
when
says Abraham and Nahor and
mhm.
the women they married are important for history in general and God's plan specifically. Abraham married his half sister Sarai, the daughter of his father, but not his mother. Nahor married Milcah, the daughter of his brother Haran, and therefore his niece.
Hmm.
Those relationships would later be forbidden as incestuous,
Mhm.
a plan for the human race to descend from one couple,
Okay.
necessitating marriage between brothers and sisters for a time. Certainly, however, there was never a sanction for any such relationship outside of marriage.
Mm. Okay. So this right here is just a further example of when Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden, and what happened was they first children were Cain and Abel, right? Cain killed Abel, and then Cain ended up marrying a woman. Well, if it was only them, their line, he married somebody in his family too.
Exactly.
Right.
Because you know, think about it, honestly, it's twisted as it sounds for what our minds are wrapped around or trying to think now. We all come from incest.
Yeah.
Because if Adam and Eve were the only people on earth
Mm-hmm.
and if they multiplied, then their children had to be the ones to mate with each other.
Right. Yep. Because they were populating the earth until the sons of God, which were the fallen angels, came and got, took for them for themselves wives that were, descendants of Adam and Eve, and then the that's when the flood came, because the Lord was like, this is wicked. They down here populating with the people, the angels marrying the wives, and the Nephilim came, the giants came, and so that's when he wiped out the earth, and then everybody these days, 2,000 years ago, came from Noah and his family, which came from incest, right? And so I feel like the Lord,
And I felt it like the Lord wiped it out for that, but then it still came back. And as we always say, history still repeated itself.
yeah, it did. It did. And so then after, I don't know how far after this, there was the law against incest, which I think is only first mentioned when Moses wrote when Moses got the people from Egypt. I think that's when the laws were created around incest. But I don't know how many years there was after that. After this, when the Lord told him that we need to start creating these laws, which means that the Lord was infinite in His thinking to know when too much was too much, when it was time to do something different, right? So He
I think
allowed it to
it's
serve a
different
purpose.
Old Testament and the New Testament because I think the New Testament kind of restructured a lot of things that were wrong in the Old Testament. That's just how I've always thought about it.
Hmm.
Because there's some things that you will see and find in the Old Testament, and then when you go back and you look at the New Testament, it tells you something different.
Right. Like what you mean? Like, for example, when you say eye for eye, and then in the New Testament, huh?
That's literally what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah. So,
I was literally going to say how they say, do unto others that they would have, as you would have someone to do unto you.
hmm.
But that mean, isn't that an eye for eye? Isn't that mean if you do something to me, I can do it back to you? But then when you come back and you go in the New Testament, it says turn the other cheek.
Right.
So is it an eye for eye or is it turn the other cheek?
So Jesus came so that we are forgiven for our sins, right? He is the message of love. And this is just my understanding. He is the message of love. The Old Testament um is a old covenant. Jesus is the new covenant. Jesus is telling us that we are to forgive. We are to um love like he loves, right? Because when you think about it, when they were whooping him at the post, he took it and he said, "What? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Now, me, I'm still working on it because
I'm still kind of like Old Testament a little bit.
right? I still got a little bit of that. I'm still working on it. What they say, he ain't finished with me yet.
Mm,
But yeah,
yeah,
so
a little progress on that one.
right. So there's a lot of in the Old Testament is people say that the Old Testament is not relevant. We living in the New Testament, but they are one. Like they are to be lived together
Every
because
everything that you live from to know what was and what to do is like they're still relative.
right, they're
You
still
go,
relevant because people want to say, I live out of I want to be blessed like it says in Deuteronomy. Yet you don't want to do what it takes, there's still things that you have to, your part that you have to play in order to get the blessings in Deuteronomy 28, because 1 through 14 is the blessings. But I mean 1 through 4, yeah, 14 is the blessings, but 15 through the rest of them is the curses. There are consequences to everything that we do. So yeah, we just have to that's why I like reading this, because even I can read something over and over again and it always, I learn something new, right?
Something gonna hit you at a different time.
Right. And so I just was like, Lord, I wanna read the Bible, but I wanna read it with other people. And that's why I decided I was gonna go live just to see who was gonna hop up. And I like listening to the Bible. So, I figured maybe somebody else wanted to listen to the Bible as I read it. Yeah.
All right.
So yes, 8 through 11 is what we read tonight. Tomorrow, like I say, I think that the it changes and goes to Job. I read it first and then I come on live and read it later on in the day. Typically, since I'm finna go back to work, it'll be around this time anyway, probably 7:30, 8 o'clock before I get to reading it. But yeah, so if you want to look at that plan, let me know. I'll send it to you. But it's on the YouVersion app. It's called the Bible Recap.
I think I have. I think that's the version of that's the Bible app I do have. So I'll go send it to me still, and then I'll go look at it.
Okay.
Make sure it's on that one.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going through, because I just wanted to kind of go through the Bible again this way to see how they break it down. Because when I did it myself, I did the New Testament first, and then I went back and read the Old Testament. So I did that last year twice, and so I wanted to, because theirs is not laid out like some of the other through the Bible plans that I've seen. So yeah, but yeah, honey.
See this. Let me see. Can I flip my camera?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay. This is how.
I don't know how to make that. Let me see. Expand. Expand. Okay. Tara moves to Haran. Okay. And let me see the front of your Bible. I don't think I have that one. Nope, I don't have that one. I got a different one. That's one that my mama had.
Yeah, and I have another one over there that somebody just gifted me for Christmas. So I have another one. But I've been enjoying this one because it breaks stuff down for you.
Mm-hmm. I like that one. This is the one that I typically use, the Keyword Study Bible. Because I like looking up the words and the phrases and stuff. But I stopped using it because I use, like I say, the Blue Letter app, Blue Letter Bible app most of the time. Or I'll read, where that Bible at? This one, but
okay,
which is the Holman's Christian Standard Bible. It's a study Bible. But I haven't really been using that one much. This one much. It's brand new. I had it, I know, at least a year and a half. I ain't really used it, but yeah. So I will be back tomorrow, and I'll be then listening to and read whatever the day's message is. I'm really enjoying it. Like, oh, and I bought this little tablet. I bought me some tablets for the month of January so I can write down my thoughts after I read it. Yeah.
it's too small.
That's too small. I got two of them. Red and green. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. See, I got tablets everywhere, but I didn't want to, because I write all over the place, and I'm trying to keep myself on the same page.
I can't just write nothing right. I have to write stuff just.
Yeah. So I said, these are going to be my January tablets. I ain't writing nothing else but these for the month of January. Yeah.
And then like for at work, I have a couple of the